Okay, we will call the meeting to order. This is the time and the place for the April 7, 2025 regular board meeting of the Marshalltown Community School District. Welcome to all of you joining us this evening. We'll see how many are left at the end of the meeting. We'll do some introductions of folks who are here this evening. Board members starting to my right, we have Zach Wall and Sarah Faltis. To my left, Karina Hernandez and Leah Stanley. And then here at the center table, immediately to my right is Mr. Randy Denham, our board secretary. And to my left, Dr. Theron Schutte, the superintendent of schools. We've got three of our student school board reps here this evening, Caitlin Yepes Ramirez, Legay Paw, and Charles Gilbertson. And here comes Maria Morales as we speak. There we go. A nice wave to everybody. What am I doing? I'm Sean Heitman. We've got a pink sign-up sheet there on the speaker's table for anybody who wants to address the board during public comment time. You will be given 5 minutes to speak to the board. Please understand that Iowa law prohibits the discussion of specific employees of the district or their job performance. Also, in accordance with and to comply with Iowa open meeting laws, we will not respond to comments made during the public or open comment time. Is that everything, Randy?
You got it.
All right. Would you all please join me then in reading the mission statement of the Marshalltown Community School District? We develop learners who have the knowledge, skills, and positive mindset to successfully pursue a meaningful future through personalized learning experiences. And please stand as you're able and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any changes to the agenda this evening?
There are a number of them. 1.03 in recognitions. We had an omission, which I am putting on the recognitions, which is for Abby and the fine work coming out of the communications office. So I'll speak to that at that time to kick things off. We have a Wartburg College Field Experience and Student Teaching Agreement that's been added to the consent agenda. We have 4 City of Marshalltown permits for the Franklin Field Project, and I'll ask Adam Daters from CGA to come forward just to talk briefly about that. Yep.
Good evening, Adam Daters with CGA. So one of the last steps here with the Franklin Field project is to gain city approval on a few different permits they have here. A couple we have on there, the driveway permit and the Casesco are fairly standard for any kind of site construction projects. 2 ones that are a little unique for this one are the floodplain development permit, because we're doing some work in the floodplain. We've already gotten approval from the DNR that their agreement with the work in the floodplain. We're just going through the city permit process now, so nothing too exciting there. And then on this one, the sidewalk deferment application on 14th Street, we're limited quite a bit by some utilities, things in the right-of-way, so they've agreed to defer the sidewalk construction along 14th Street. So I'd like to, if you have any questions, I could answer them.
Well, and these were matters that we need to take care of right away so that they can move forward, right?
Correct.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
We also have a special ed agreement interagency with CAM School District for a level 1 student for that will start 7/1 of 24, or had started 7/1 of 24 and end 7/1 of 25. 4.04, we've got Sandra Tracy requesting permission to attend the 2025 National Leadership Conference in Florida. And then in personnel, we've got 2 things. One is hot off the press. We had a letter of resignation or retirement from a longtime teacher, Nancy Cross, who's an art teacher at Franklin and Rogers Elementary School. Jackie will speak to that during her portion. And then we've got a lot of administrative recommendations for hire. We had 5 positions that were interviewed for. last week and a half. And 4 of those 5 are being recommended to be filled at this time. I'd like to speak to those briefly because they'll be in the consent agenda. Happy to announce that Oscar Cardenas has been chosen as the associate, or has been chosen to be the next Woodbury Elementary School principal. Oscar's been an associate principal at Hyatt Middle School in Des Moines for the past 6 years. Many will remember that prior to that, he was ELL teacher at Miller Middle School. He has past elementary teaching experience as well. He completed his BA in social work and elementary education with a reading endorsement. He has a master's degree in social work from the University of Georgia, English as a second language endorsement from the University of Northern Iowa, and his ed leadership certification is through Viterbo University. We also have a recommendation for hire for the MHS associate principal position. This would be Mr. Bolivar's former position as associate that is currently being filled on an interim basis by Roy Frakes. Desiree Hudson, who is currently a special ed consultant for the Des Moines Public School System. Prior to that, she served as a secondary instructional coach at Knoxville Middle School. Her previous teaching experiences were in special education. Desiree has a BA degree in elementary ed through Grandview University, a master's degree in special education through Morningside University, and a master's degree in educational administration through Northwestern College in Orange City, Iowa. The other middle school MHS associate principal position, which is the lead position at Morristown Learning Academy, Morristown Virtual Academy, and will oversee the therapeutic classroom program, is Jordan Terry. Jordan has served as an associate principal since 2022 for the Des Moines Community. There seems to be a pattern here with Des Moines Community School District within their district-wide alternative programs. So she's overseen and administrated multiple programs within 2 different building sites in Des Moines at the same time. Her teaching background was in special education with Des Moines and Urbandale school districts, and she served as a special education coach and behavioral strategist for the Ames Community School District. Jordan has a BA degree in elementary education with special education Strat 2, intellectual disability, and BDLD certifications. She has a master's degree in special education with Strat 2 endorsements from Upper Iowa University, and her PK-12 master's degree for the principalship and supervisor of special education is from Viterbo University. And last but not least, we're happy to announce the choice for Morristown Community School District Facilities Director, which is Todd Carl. Todd is a Morristown native and graduate. He began working at JBS in high school, sweeping floors, and earned his way all the way up to having a 34-year tenure and becoming the general manager of the 3rd largest pork producing plant in the country from 2016 to 2023. He brings a wealth of administration, management, and supervision experience to the position. The one position which we did not fill was Anson Elementary School, so we'll be reposting that position and shooting to hopefully bring someone forward in May. And that is it.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Faltus, Stanley? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0. Abby?
Okay, as Abby comes forward, as was the case last year.
I'm at the end, so we can see.
No, you're at the beginning. Lenahan's at the end. Morristown Community School District was recognized at the recent 2025 ISPRA, the Iowa School Public Relations Association ceremony. They held its annual conference on April 3rd and 4th, so this is hot off the press. The organization includes school public relation professionals, superintendents, and leaders interested in fostering communications work that school districts have done in the past year. This year, ISPRA received 112 contest submissions from 17 districts from across the state. Marshtown Community School District, Department of Communications, under leadership of Abby, submitted several projects in different categories. The rubric for judging looks at design clarity and focus, writing quality, how the pieces are evaluated, and the overall effect. When averaged together, if a submission scores 1 to 2.9, they earn an award of merit. Scores of 3 to 4.9 earn an award of excellence, and 5 out of 5 earn the top honor, the Blue and Gold Award, as the best in the state. Of these submissions that Abby put forward, 2 received that top award, the Blue and Gold Award. One was in photography with the last day of preschool. And another was in public engagement with the Reimagining Miller Bond Referendum campaign. There were 8 awards of excellence: video series Embrace the Lead and student stories, special purpose, the MCSD brand book, special purpose, the Embrace the Lead vinyl graphics that are in buildings, singular video, an inside look at Miller, social media, special education day spotlight, social media, be a Bobcat in every way, every day, registration effort, marketing and branding campaign, Embrace the Lead, and excellence in writing, growing together. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Very well done.
Go, Abby, go.
Okay, into more of the important recognitions. First up, MHS Quiz Bowl. Have you guys come up? Scoot over one chair.
Am I staying in your chair here?
Yeah, it's all good. The Marshalltown High School varsity Quiz Bowl team claimed second place at the Iowa Quiz Bowl League State Championships held at Waukee Northwest. I will have the members of the team introduce themselves and kind of talk about the competition, what that was like, and kind of go through what questions were thrown that way. So I'll pass the mic over.
I am Isaac Benscooter. I'm a senior. I am Jacob Perkith, grade 11.
I'm Charlie Gilbertson, and I'm also a senior.
So, was it last Saturday?
No, well, 2 Saturdays.
1 or 2 Saturdays ago, we traveled to Waukee Northwest High School for the State Quiz Bowl Championships. This is something we do pretty much every year. The past few years, we usually finish in about the bottom third. And this year, we've had a pretty successful season. We got second at the Fall Open, which was also at Waukee Northwest, might have been at Ankeny. And just throughout the year, we've had a couple competitions, and we've been doing really well. And at the state competition, we did end up placing second. They split us into 2 round-robin groups. We got second in ours, and then beat Western Dubuque, the team that got first in the other bracket, and then played Iowa City High School for the finals. And we lost, but we finished runner-up. We placed above some pretty big schools, Waukee Northwest, Waukee, Ankeny Centennial. Jaeger got second overall in the individual and also received all-state honors. If you want to talk about that a little bit. Doesn't.
We're very familiar with his skills, by the way.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty cool to watch.
Experience.
That's right. Jaeger came in here and embarrassed us all once,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
It's true.
So
I
think
would
that's
just
it.
say what an amazing accomplishment that you guys
Thank you.
had. And, oftentimes people say that, and it's difficult in numbers sometimes to compete with some of these big, suburban high schools. But you guys once again proved that both the knowledge and talent that exists within Marshtown High School and the opportunities that kids have to learn and grow can allow us to compete with anyone in Marshtown and probably across the country if, everything goes right. So congratulations and job well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
So Marshalltown High School had 2 students selected by the Iowa High School Speech Association for individual all-state speech. As a former speech kid myself, very exciting time. It's considered best of state. You come together with other members of the association and perform with them. Really a great time, but we had 2 of them this year. One of them we have tonight that I'll let her introduce herself for original oratory. Another student who was unable to make it tonight, also original oratory. Where they presented for All-State was at the University of North Iowa in late March. And yeah, that kind of sums it up. I'm going to pass the microphone over.
Hello, good evening. I'm Nigel. I'm a junior. My original oratory, it was about the ripple effect of empathy and just basically loving yourself and caring for yourself first, and then letting that spread through just being kind to others and just being compassionate. And the experience, it was very low-key surreal, I'm not gonna lie, because this is my first year, so like being in front of people and just like kind of expressing like what I believe in, it was kind of scary but very exciting at the same time. It was also nice to be there with someone like Namade, which she was also the other person that made it to All-State. It was very fun. Yeah.
Well, we've had, at least during the time that I've been here, the past 9 years, a number of students who have had success, and largely in part by talking about their life experience through whatever works they do, and which is really cool. You and your classmate will be forever on the board in that Hall of Honor in the auditorium for all the all-state participants that are, in the fine arts, whether it be speech, band, chorus, orchestra, that sort of thing. So very, very cool, and hopefully you'll go after it again next year as well.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congrats.
So our school district has quite a few national qualifiers, or individuals who qualified for nationals. First up, we have IJAG, Iowa Jobs for America's Graduate Students, who recently qualified for nationals after participating in the Career Development Conference at Iowa State University. I will pass the microphone over to them to talk about this process, talk about the competition in itself. Anyway, take it away.
Okay. Hello, I'm Mary McCann Foxon, and I'm the 11-12 IJAG specialist. This was a really exciting year for us. And so the Career Development Conference is kind of the IJAG Super Bowl, if you will. And so there's 7 competitive events that students participate in. They have to submit preliminary videos and content to be invited to participate at the state level. And so we had 5 out of 7 of those events we were chosen to participate at the state level. And then from there, if they're selected as first place winners, then they get to participate at the national level. And so for 2 years now, Rama, if you remember, she got to go to nationals last year because she was placed first in the state for prepared speaking. And now we have another group of girls who got first in creative decision making. If you want to talk about just quickly the preliminary submission and kind of what you had to.
Yeah. Okay, so hi, I'm Joanna Rivas. I'm a senior at MHS, and I am the IJAG's 12th grade secretary. So for our preliminary video that we first submitted, our problem was of like how to introduce a vending machine, but also incorporate like healthier snacks. So we decided like to put like veggie sticks, like healthier drinks than we already have. But then we also decided to incorporate a female vending machine that'll be placed in our locker room. I'm sorry, locker room, because the one we already have, it's not used. It's like broken down, and like I guess you have to pay money for it. But we had that ours would be totally free. It'll incorporate items that we use now, like maybe Tylenol, maybe pads, like those things for females, and yeah. Thank you.
Once we made it to, so that was their preliminary just concept, and then once we made it to state, this is the winning.
Hello, I'm Emily Aguilera. I'm from the high school. So when we made it to CDC in Des Moines, our problem was how to keep our population rate up, or just keep it the same. And we decided to do it for our town. We thought Marshalltown's very big on community-wise, so we decided to do more events in the community, more fundraisers, just something that would help everyone get more involved with the community, as well as we had a lot of homes or a lot of new apartments that are for like veterans, and so we decided that we would want to embrace the younger families that are wanting to start somewhere that would be like income level, to help them get started and off their feet. And then we also did want to embrace diversity. I feel like Marshalltown's really big on diversity. So as our plans for having the community all together, we thought it would be cool to, like, every month we do something with a different community group of the diversity people, to include them as well, because some people do have struggle to include themselves. And then we were really excited when we won. We probably were really loud when we won. Yeah. Thank you.
I think it's your first time to be on an airplane as well, that we get to go to Indianapolis, so very exciting. Quickly, you can just say your name.
I'm Shalea. I'm a senior. I'm Sophie Cardona. I'm a senior.
Okay, and quickly, I would like to brag about Rama, because she has been, have a seat. She was chosen for Iowa to be, so we have our career development conference at our school, and then we have our state career association. So then that's kind of leaders through all the IJAGs through the state of Iowa. And then Rama was selected to represent Iowa to be one of the National Career Association advisors. So she also gets to attend the conference. It's been a really kind of big application process for her in completing a portfolio. And then just Friday, we heard that she got selected for a job shadow and possible internship at the governor's office this summer. So lots of exciting things happening. Really proud of our students. Okay.
Well, I was super excited to get, I think, through your newsletters when I first heard, and I had seen another school district, not to be named, they got big front page press on this, and we're so exceptionally proud of your guys' accomplishment, and wish you the best, and keep up the great work in IJAG. I think we've got one of the more comprehensive programs in the whole state, so now you guys are rocking it at the state level.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
So for the next recognition, quick little PowerPoint and video going into it. Few students represented the district at the Iowa Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America FCCLA State Leadership Conference in Cedar Rapids, competing in several categories. One student, Helen Scher's performance at state earned her a spot at the National FCCLA Conference, which takes place this summer. Helen and Family Consumer Sciences teacher Sandra Tracy. Helen wasn't able to make it tonight due to a commitment with athletics, but we have video from her tonight, and I'll pass over the microphone to Sandra.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sandra Tracy. I'm one of the family consumer science teacher at the high school. And this year, FCCLA is new to Marshalltown, so we try to do some little activities and projects since it's new to us. But we have several students join the competition. So we have Helen and Adriana. Adriana won gold medal for, I was going to see if the picture is in there. Oh. Oh. Okay, sorry. So there's the students we took. We took 3 students, but only 2 competed. So Adriana won gold medal for a job interview. So she interviewed to become a paralegal. So she did a great job on that. She scored high. So she learned about the job, and then she presented, and they asked her questions. And then Helen did research on becoming a nurse. So she created a portfolio, and then she presented. And then since she's a sophomore, she competed for level 2, and she luckily qualified for the nationals. Oh. Sorry, I have Helen's video to talk about how she prepared for this and how she won, but sorry, our video is not working. But.
Sandra, can you allow access from your phone?
Yes.
Drive from your phone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe. How do I? Sorry, I'm not used to the.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Sandra's coming back up
Good
to
idea.
talk about the travel request. Can we see if we can get it working and get the video going for that?
Sounds
Perfect.
good. Thank you.
Thank you.
What the flag means to me. 3 of our 5th grade writers were honored at the American Legion for What the Flag Means to Me essays. These students developed their essays through the XLP Writers Workshop Group, which integrated research with personal experiences. In February, they had the opportunity to read these winning essays to veterans. And so I'll pass the microphone over to them and their instructor to talk more about this process and read some of those essays.
Abby pretty much said it all, so I'm just going to go ahead and let the kids shine, okay? All right.
I think it is very important to honor the United States of America. Throughout the year, I do many things to respect the flag. Our country's flag has 13 stripes and 50 stars, which represent the 13 original colonies in 50 states. This is special because of our country's current and past history. I respect the flag by looking at the stars and stripes when doing the national anthem. I also honor the American flag by celebrating Memorial Day and the 4th of July every year with friends and family. When I celebrate those holidays, we have big parties, set off fireworks, and bring red, white, and blue foods. We also put a bunch of flags in our yard to honor our country on these annual holidays. There are many things people need to do to respect the actual flag. One thing is never let the flag touch the ground or water. Another thing is you should never put any kind of coloring, letters, logos, or holes and tears in the flag. Never use it as clothing, drapery, or bedding. I am so grateful that the men and women that came before me fought for my freedom, and that's what the flag represents to me. To honor those people, let the flag be flown from sunrise to sundown. The flag represents hope and unity. The flag represents hope because they had a desire to win the war on September 3rd, 1783, and during that war, that is when the United States of America became free. The ability to be free will bring opportunities to all. The flag also represents unity because people had to work together in that war. The flag unites us as people. Those are the reasons the flag is important to me.
Were you third place? Yes. So Braylon here was the third place winner of the American flag essay for the American Legion. And I don't think I introduced myself either. I'm Miss Vanessa Engel, the XLP teacher at Lenahan. Okay. Second place, we'll go ahead and have Faith go ahead.
The American flag represents everything we stand for as a country. Seeing an American flag makes me think about all the soldiers that have protected America. I really appreciate how fortunate we are to have brave soldiers that are willing to risk their lives to protect America and give us our freedom. Another thing I think about is the 50 stars that represent our 50 states and the 13 stripes that represent the original 13 colonies that started our country. I am really grateful I get to live in a free country. While legend said Philadelphia seamstress Betsy Ross designed and sewed this flag, historians say that the designer was New Jersey Congressman Francis Hopkinson. Hopkinson was also a signer of the Declaration of Independence. The Betsy Ross flag was the first official flag of the U.S. on June 14, 1777. This day is celebrated annually as Flag Day. The only president to serve under this original flag was George Washington. I'm really thankful for the determination that George Washington had during the war. The current flag is the 27th version since this country was born. There is another holiday, the 4th of July. As a family, we celebrate the 4th of July annually. I respect the flag by never stepping on it and, most importantly, letting it flow freely. The flag should not be stuck in one place. I say the Pledge of Allegiance every morning to honor our country. This is a promise that we will be loyal to America and our unique red, white, and blue flag that represents us. I put my hand over my heart as a sign of respect to the American flag during the national anthem. We are all on a team together, and the American flag is our nation's crest.
Thank you. And last but not least, we have Kagan Minkle, who won first place. Scoot it a little bit closer. Pick it up. Yeah. Good job.
The flag of the United States of America is widely visible throughout our country, but few people have taken the time to think about what it represents. When you take the time to study the history of the flag and reflect on its meaning, it builds connection to our country. Our flag represents three valuable elements that many American citizens appreciate: unity, freedom, and respect. An explanation of these components will provide an understanding of how they are demonstrated through our red, white, and blue. Unity, freedom, and respect are all demonstrated by our country's flag. There are many events when all American citizens unite around the flag. Whether it be in classrooms, at sporting events, or on the 4th of July, our country makes a habit of coming together and putting aside our personal differences to honor the flag. This unity strengthens our relationships and communities. Our flag also represents freedom by allowing American citizens the opportunity to express themselves without fear of judgment or punishment. This freedom creates diversity that allows our country to grow and succeed.
The final characteristic represented by our flag is respect. Our country's flag pays tribute to the men and women who fought or died protecting the United States. These sacrifices help remind citizens of our country's history, which builds respect. Our flag may be made up of 3 simple colors, but it does not stand for a simple cause. My reflection led me to realize that our flag represents unity, freedom, and respect. All of these characteristics combine together to create a strong country with a remarkable past and promising future. Hopefully others will also take the time to study and reflect upon the meaning of our flag, so they can too understand its importance each time they see it.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's the show, folks.
So
Thank you
you're
again
all,
for having
you
us.
girls are all 6th grade? Fifth grade. And you saw those the all-state recognition? I think we have a bright future. Amazing job for 5th grade.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm extremely proud of all these girls too for practicing speaking skills. So I saw a lot of looking up and slowing down. So very proud of them all. So this year, these were all the American Flag essay winners for our 5th graders. 6th grade this year, we're doing the patriotism essay through the Elks Lodge. So we look forward to seeing how they do this year as well.
Thank you.
Great
Thank you
job.
for having us.
Thank you for being a great leader.
Abby, is that it?
You know, I really tried hard to put one more, but maybe next time.
Okay. Well, then we will move on to the consent agenda, where we've got minutes from the March 24 special and regular board meetings and from the March 27 special board meeting. Jackie, anything to note in personnel?
Good evening. We do have 2 special retirements, just like we have in all the other retirements. Elaine Johnson, as according to Mr. Kyle from Lenahan, he says that she's been a faithful servant of the Marshalltown Community School District for 35 years. In her role as a school counselor at Lenahan, she's been instrumental in supporting thousands of students, families, and teachers. She's been a part of supporting our students in tough times, celebrating with them when they overcome challenges, and ensuring that they have someone to talk to when the need arises. Her students know they have someone in their corner all the time. She's been a strong advocate for mental health counseling in our schools and works tirelessly to coordinate support with outside agencies to create strong counseling relationships. Elaine has been a key member of the Lenahan team tasked with developing and implementing high-quality social-emotional learning in every classroom. Her experience, expertise, and perspective will be sorely missed at Lenahan, and we wish her nothing but the best in her next endeavors. And then at the very last moment, as Dr. Schutte shared, we did have another retirement announced just this afternoon, and this is what Nancy Cross said about Marshalltown Community School District. At retirement, I will have spent 6 years of my teaching art at Rogers and Franklin Elementary Schools in Marshalltown. I can honestly say my time spent in Marshalltown has been amicable, productive, and gratifying. This includes 2 seasons of employment as an assistant 7th grade girls basketball coach, and this past year serving on the Rogers Elementary School building leadership team. Prior to Marshalltown, I was an educator for 13 years and an administrator for 13 years in Illinois schools. In addition, I was an elementary principal in the Fort Dodge Community School District for 6 years in Iowa. I leave with a mind overflowing with magnificent memories, with a heart beating with positive feelings toward everyone, with no feelings of enmity or bitterness, and perhaps most important, no regrets whatsoever. Please convey to the Board of Education my gratitude for the many kindnesses Marshalltown has shown me over the 6 years. Tell them my sense of privilege at being allowed to touch and be a part of so many young lives, and let them know my sense of honor at having been allowed to be a part of something truly significant. Also convey the fact that the entire educational system of Marshalltown will remain in my thoughts and prayers. So congratulations.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
We have a number of interagency agreements and contracts. A school-based supervision contract, Fourth Amendment with the Iowa Judicial Branch and the school district for the extension of the contract from July 1 through June 30. An agreement with Marshalltown Community School District STC Dive Center for I Tried Scuba. An amendment to the Sexual Risk Avoidance Education Program agreement. An agreement with Morningside University for the 25-26 Teacher Education Student Program. A 5-year renewal with TFS Results for Career Tree and Education with Purpose Licensing. An agreement with Wartburg College for student teaching and field experience for a 4-year period from August of this year through July of 2028. And an agreement amendment with Envision Architects to account for the additional survey work at the Miller Middle School project. And then the 4 agreements that Adam spoke about earlier with the city of Marshalltown, the sidewalk deferment application, the driveway alteration permit, the floodplain development application, and the application for construction site erosion and sediment control. We've also got 1 interagency agreement with CAM for 1 special education student. Are there questions about any of those contracts or agreements? We've got 3 open enrollments for next year. Randy, anything to note in bills?
No.
Any questions from Randy about the bills? No? Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Wise, Morales, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0. Nobody's on the pink sheet, so we up to Bobcat Cafe.
All right, it is my pleasure to get to introduce, you have heard a lot about Bobcat Cafe, I know, several different meetings that we've talked about it, but Jules McGrew, she's the engine behind our cafe. She's been doing an incredible job just trying to get that off the ground. And then I know we have Kinsley Bowie here, and I'm sorry, I don't know and both of you have been in the morning shift, is that correct, at Bobcat Cafe? Because I get to see you guys on Thursday morning. All right, welcome.
I do have a slideshow. Yep, I'm Jules McGrew, Bobcat Cafe, and we call them the early birds. There's one more, but she has work right now. That's Mia Gianetto, and we have a lot of fun. Being so early, I pretty much have almost 100% attendance, so I think that's super telling too that this is a program that students want to come to and be a part of and grow with. So I love that. We've had a lot of community support, which has been super fun. Students at the cafe have been doing an outstanding job gaining hands-on experience in customer service, teamwork, and barista skills. They have truly appreciated the support from local groups such as our administration team, Chamber, Marshalltown Police, United Way, and various community coffee groups. Customers have enjoyed not only the quality of service from our students, but also the opportunity to reminisce about the history of the Orpheum with students, making the cafe a welcoming and nostalgic gathering space for the community. someone, I'm not originally from this community, so then when people come in and tell me their stories, whether it's past principals or people that worked at the Orpheum or had some connection to the Orpheum, it's just been so nice to learn our community in a different light and have a way for them to enjoy the Orpheum again. Amy, you did a great job with that screen that is interactive. I love seeing our customers go up to the screen and see the history of people of influence in our arts world. And they keep talking about the veterans. Veterans little tab. And we have a little space out there where people can eat and just talk and enjoy their coffees. So that's been super nice. This has been something that, oh my goodness, it just brings so much joy to me every single day. But the cafe is more than just a place for coffee. It's a hands-on learning experience, especially for our special education students. Each day they arrive eager to develop real-world job skills in a supportive environment. They also come every single day with a black shirt and a black visor. They don't want to get their clothes dirty. From preparing drinks and handling transactions to engaging with customers and maintaining cleanliness, they take pride in their roles, building confidence, responsibility, and teamwork. Beyond job training, the cafe fosters inclusivity and community, creating meaningful opportunities for our students to thrive. Their enthusiasm highlights the impact of this program, providing that a simple cafe can be a powerful space for growth and learning. And we're excited to see this program continue to flourish. In these pictures, you will see Marilyn in the first picture learning how to make a latte. And what's significant about this is the second. Marilyn then went on to teach Dulce how to make that latte. Coming from Michael Apple, that was a huge task for Marilyn to do, and for her to be able to do that to appear was just an amazing day. So that's just been super fun. They are always eager to get to work and help clean up and make drinks for customers. With the cafe and the way that we structured it, second semester, we have a lot of the MCC culinary practicum students. We have 9 in total, and right here in the first picture, you will see 4. We have Parker, Alvaro, Tony, and Rafa. Not only do they come in on the second shift, but by the time the second shift happens and after they leave, we kind of slow down a little bit, and they thought it would be a fun idea to take the Bobcat Cafe to Main Street and have been going to different businesses and getting coffee orders. They've even gone as far as the courthouse and to every section on the courthouse. Mm-hmm. So I just think that is really, really fun. Also, the ladies at the Welcome Center are big jokesters, and on April Fool's Day, they said that the courthouse had a huge order because they had done such a good job going there getting orders, but it was an April Fool's joke. And they all really, they were good sports about that. They loved that. Every day we've been, back up. Yep. Every day we do post on our Bobcat Cafe Facebook page, and Logan has been doing our post for us. He has done an incredible job with the writing of each post. But Logan, you are a junior, and you've done a good job writing those. And as talented as you are writing, and also in industrial tech, you will see him in that program as well. He's most excited about becoming a third-generational Marshalltown police officer. And then in the last slide here, picture, you have Mia and Kinsley as they are wearing the aprons, and that is coming from our fashion merchandise students. They had fun designing a logo that is Bobby coming out of the steam of a coffee cup, and you can purchase shirts up there with the logo on it. So, yeah. And then, the last slide. Our bakers, I really knew the importance of the bakers when business slow down on Mondays, because originally we had designed Mondays wouldn't have baked goods just because the production on Sundays, students aren't in school. And people started telling other people that we don't have baked goods as they're walking out, and we saw business slow down on a Monday. So bakers were like, nope, we have to do something different about that. We are definitely a big part of why this is being successful, and that feels good. So now we do have baked goods on Mondays, if anyone wants to know. Each afternoon, our team of 10 dedicated bakers brings creativity and passion to our kitchen, perfecting a variety of baked goods for the next morning service. They love experimenting with new recipes and take great pride in reviewing sales during the daily debriefing to see what resonated with customers. To their surprise, the lemon pound cake and scones have become top sellers. But the real star of the cafe is the students' handcrafted breakfast burrito with the Thai chili aioli, our undeniable bestseller. And we call Logan the burrito man because he loves making the burritos. So yeah, that's what we got so far.
So they're coming in on Sunday to bake?
No,
Monday?
We talked a lot about what items freeze really well. And when we went through a little baking unit with cakes, we talked about how I'm a baker and I freeze my cakes before I ice my cakes, and it brings moisture to that product. And they said, well, we should do that with the muffins, and then that would bring more moisture to the product, and the pound cakes and the scones. And so that's what we will be selling on Mondays. And then the snickerdoodles, I would say the snickerdoodles are the best cookie sellers. So so if we bake things during the week, they will over bake on certain items, and then we will freeze them so that they are ready for a Monday. Yeah.
Well, just through informal conversations, I've heard people when they talk about the cafe raving about the snickerdoodles and the scones. So it's having an impact, obviously, and hopefully with the arrangement with the city and the contractors for the Main Street project, you won't get too terribly impacted given the fact that they've agreed to do the parking lot first while Main Street is still open with phase one. And then hopefully sometime in the fall that will be done, if not before. And then when Main Street shut down, the people will still have access through the parking lot there. So
Yeah.
I was very appreciative of both of those areas not being shut down at the same time. Main Street right in front of the Orpheum, and then also the parking lot. So have not got the word exactly on when things will start progressing with that parking lot, but arrangements have been made to be able to park across the street in that parking lot, kitty corner there.
Yeah.
So,
Is there a plan for the summer?
There's been a lot of interest about that. That is a topic that we will still need to discuss. Customers would like us to be, and students, these two have already said they would love to work, and multiple students. We have 24 that are in our morning rotation that would like to, but there is just a little bit of logistics that we would have to work out for that. I know we don't want to lose momentum, but yeah, still a conversation to be had.
So from the students, we've heard a lot from you.
Yep.
What are your thoughts or comments? What makes you excited to want to go into the Bobcat Cafe early in the morning?
First of all, I think it's an amazing opportunity to meet new people in the community and bring the first Bobcat-led, student-led organization that can bring money in. And I think making food and making coffee is a great way to actually project to your future. If you, by chance, do barista skills while you're in college, making burritos on your daily living, saving money, I think it's an amazing opportunity to have a chance from this teacher. She's an amazing teacher, and she teaches very well, and it's very nice to see daily customers coming in on every Tuesday or every Wednesday, getting the same things. Especially we have one customer that comes every day almost for a scone. So, so yeah, it's an amazing opportunity and a great workspace, and I think it's a great location. And a little more advertising and open through the summer, and I think it'd be a great business and break in a lot of money.
Tired.
There you go. I would have said exactly what he said, so it's the same for me. That's it.
Any other questions from anybody? Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Book study?
Hi, Eric.
Hey, what's going on? Darren, it's good to see you. It's a good-looking group here, man. I'm not just saying that either.
Well, there's been a lot of activity. We appreciate your patience with all those recognitions and stuff.
No, I love it, man. Let me tell you something. I love Iowa. Can I just say that? I'm a big fan. I live in New York now, but I'm from Indiana. I love coming to Iowa. It reminds me a lot of Indiana. I love you guys for a couple reasons. One, I'm a big Indiana sports fan, and you guys funnel your best to Indiana. So thank you for Dallas Clark and Bob Sanders as an Indianapolis Colts fan. I'm a big Pacer fan, so you brought us Halliburton. That's fantastic. And who doesn't love Caitlin Clark? You guys are awesome. I love that. I was in Hancock County last week, actually. I delivered the keynote for the Hancock County Economic Development Dinner. And then I was able to hang out at Garner High School the next morning. They had a job fair there, and they brought in 4 high schools. We did an assembly, and I got to hang out with them and teach them a little bit about body language, which was fantastic. And I loved hearing that speech, the ripple effect of empathy from Nigel. I'd love to see the transcript of that. What a beautiful title. And the Quiz Bowl, that was fantastic. And the IJEG people, they're going to my state, Indianapolis. Tell them, Theron, that they need to go to St. Elmo's. They've got to do it. They sell more shrimp than any other restaurant in the entire country. Why? Because their shrimp cocktail sauce is homemade. It's off the charts. And if you're anybody who's anybody, everybody goes to St. Elmo's. There's a good chance you might see Caitlin Clark there. So go check that out. And then I loved Adriana and Helen from FCCLA. That was fantastic. And those 5th graders being a veteran, that was awesome. So thank you for just allowing me to sit back and watch the excellence that's going on in Marshalltown. It was awesome. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Well, our assignment was to finish the book, which was from chapter 23 through the conclusion. So before we get to some real direct questions for Eric, anything jump out to people? Including our student school board reps. You guys might as well come on up to the mic.
Yeah, what I would say is, we got to get Caitlin and Legay and Charles up there. Come on now, you guys got to get up there and hang out. Let's go.
I know the chapter on communication, whether formal or informal, verbal or nonverbal, resonated with me just because you've done work with many of our groups now, our administrative team a couple years ago, and then our administrative assistants, and I know that work has been extraordinarily well received because people don't always recognize the vibes they give up, especially non-verbally, when having conversations with people.
Yeah. So I would say, I see the students coming up there. Caitlin, I think there's Caitlin, Legay, and Charles, but it seems like there's a 4th one up there. But
Xander.
Xander, what's up, Xandog? Glad you made it, man. Thanks for coming to the party, man. That's fantastic. As students, I would tell you, you guys are going through your own chaos right now. It's prom season, trying to figure out how that's all going to work out. Maybe you got some summer plans, trying to figure out where you're going to go to college. And when I was your age, I was always thinking about, man, as soon as I get through this chaotic moment, then once I get on the other side, then I'll be good to go. Your vision there is you guys want to create productive and engaged citizens. We all want that, right? But it seems like chaos is always something we have to tend to. Students, as you look at the board there, look at Sean. He's a good-looking dude. Zach, Maria, Theron's got all the stuff together. But let me tell you something. They're dumpster fires, just like you guys are. They're going through their level of chaos too. And what I learned, I'm about to turn 52. I know it's hard to believe. I look pretty good for 52, right? But I'm about to turn 52, and at 52, what I realized is that chaos never goes away, does it? The board members are probably shaking their heads up and down. It never goes away. So how can you become productive and engaged citizens if you can't manage chaos in a healthy way? And that was the whole purpose of the book. In fact, we gave out 200 books last week in Hancock County. I work with about 20,000 people a year because people are really trying to figure out how to manage your chaos. And there's a methodology behind it. And so that's really why I want to do it. And I'm just curious, for anybody that wants to speak up that had a chance to read the book. Listen, if you didn't read it, we're not going to come and put you in didn't read jail here. The main thing is get a chance to look at it when you get a chance or listen to the podcast. But for those that got a chance to read it, I'm just curious, what's one thing you're going to do differently as a result of the book? Is there anything like, man, after you read this, I want to do something different? Anybody want to chime in on that?
So I think it was early on in the book. I don't remember how many. I need to go back and review it. But like you can only get so many things done in a day. That idea, right? You use all of your energy, to accomplish one or two tasks, and so it's just pointless to have more than that many things on your to-do list. That's a goal that I have, is to try to really structure my day so that I can actually accomplish the important things.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Is that Sean? Sean, are you the one that said that? By the way, you run a fantastic meeting, man. Well done. Well done. Very well done.
Thanks.
Yeah, Sean's right. You know what I learned in the military is that your body is a machine, and whatever you train your body to do, your body will do it, your mind and soul. And so somehow along the lines, we get caught in this trap that it's okay to have 50,000 things that we had to get done. And we talk about taming the beast. And one of the biggest tactics of the beast to keep you from getting to where you're supposed to be in life is to keep you busy doing nothing. And that happens quite a bit. I mean, how many of you, including Xander and our students there, that you were busy all day long, doing stuff all day long. And when you go back and look back on it, what you actually accomplished, well, what did you actually get done? Did you really move the needle on anything? And so it's important to get to a point where you can focus on, hey, listen, there's about 50 things I can get done today, but what are the 3 things I have to get done? And what I learned, Sean, I'm so glad you brought this up, what I learned is that over time, your body will adapt to getting hyper-focused on the 3 things, the 3 most important things. And, you may drop some balls in there, you may not cover all the things you want to cover, and that's okay, because there's going to be another day. In fact, when I was at the United States Military Academy, I had a professor of mine. She would go to bed every night at 8:30. And for a sleep-deprived cadet, I got to tell you, Sean, I dreamt of that. Could I just go to bed at 8:30? That'd be fantastic. And I asked her, I said, how do you do with all the stuff you got to get done? She goes, listen, that stuff's going to be there tomorrow. I'm not going to worry about it. But what I need is my rest. And with my rest comes peace. And so I'm so glad that you're engaged in that, because over time, that's going to make a difference for you.
I second what Sean said. Every day I talk to a friend of mine, and we share our daily top 3 things that we're going to accomplish. So before it was like, hey, what do you have going on today? So I started talking to her about, the book that I'm reading and whatnot. So now instead of, hey, what are you going to do today? Or what does your day look like? We share our 3 things. And at the end of the day after work, we call each other so we can ensure we are holding ourselves accountable for what we said we were going to do.
That's
and
huge.
if I
that
didn't,
Maria or Karina? Was that Maria that said that?
Maria.
Maria, that's awesome. Wow, good job, Maria. Way to go. That's fantastic. You know what you said, Maria, that I think is huge for everybody is, if you want to achieve a life of significance and move the needle, you can't do it by yourself. And good on you for having an accountability partner, because when you have an accountability partner and there's someone that has an expectation that you're going to reach out to them, then even when you don't feel like maybe doing whatever you're trying to do, you'll do it because you don't want to come empty-handed to your accountability partner. That is fantastic, Maria. Way to go.
Thank you. The other thing that I want to share that I'm also taking away from this is for the team that I lead in, my day-to-day job is celebrating those wins more often. So every week we have our check-in. So I lead a team of 18 across the state. So we don't always meet in person, but we do have our weekly check-ins. And before it was more of like different training topics and other topics that we needed to talk about. But now I ensure that we at least have 5 minutes to celebrate those wins that they had, whether if it was something that happened during the week or if it was something bigger that, maybe some of the operations managers reach out and say, hey, kudos to, this BEC or this business engagement consultant. This is kind of what we did, sharing those successes, but also celebrating together as a team. And not only did it help themselves with their day-to-day jobs, but also it made our team even closer to each other, and something that in the past, yes, we talked about work, but this has even engaged in having more successes and more wins. So thank you for that as well.
That's awesome. That's really good. By the way, how creepy is it? I'm like looming over you guys in this big picture. It's just crazy. It's like I'm hovering over you. That's fantastic. Let me ask you a question. Of all the stuff that you read in there, what was something that challenged you the most? Like, man, you're like, you really question it, or it was a challenge for you as you kind of try to wrap your mind around the concept. Anything like that come up for you?
I thought, and I can't remember, it was one of the chapters that we read here, we were talking about relationships and like listening to understand. We see in this business, we see the absolute best people, as we saw today with a lot of recognitions, and sometimes we see the absolute worst. It could be students in behavior, could be adults in behavior, or whether it be our own employees or whether it be parents. And so we've done a lot of work with collaborative problem solving, which is a process to try to listen to understand and try to and effectively ask questions to try to get to the root cause of why people do what they do or say what they do and that sort of thing. And so your chapter that really spoke about that, which is, stepping back and trying to better understand what the real problem is. And you might ask the question and get 4 or 5 different responses before you actually ultimately get to what the root cause of the situation is, and the importance of trying to get there and then rebuild those relationships moving forward, which for us is usually to help our students be the most successful that they can be.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. That's fantastic. That's really cool. And I think one of the things I teach the Rise Above Chaos nonverbal communication workshop, and Theron, you had some of your team go through that. And one of the things I tell people is that if you want to truly be successful, you have to do it with others. In order to connect with others, you got to master human dynamics. And once you understand human dynamics and you understand that people are pretty predictable, including yourself, you don't get offended by people anymore. Once you understand what motivates people to do the things they do, I don't get offended. You can't offend me. I just evaluate. I evaluate, why did Theron say that? Or why did Xander, pop off like that? What would bring him to do that? And one thing I've discovered, because I used to be a special investigator in Europe and Bosnia-Herzegovina for the U.S. Army, I used to investigate high crimes. And what I've realized after 25 years of just experiencing human dynamics in a very, very raw way is that we're all motivated by fear. If you look around the room, everybody in this room right now, all of you are dealing with something in your life that frightens you. Nobody escapes it. Everybody wakes up with some kind of fear, and that fear influences the decisions you make. So everybody you interact with are just responding to something that they're afraid of. And once you understand that, it makes it easier to give each other grace, to be able to connect with one another, to sacrifice for one another. And that elevates the relationship, the community. Once we understand we're in this together, we're trying to get to the other side, but we've got to learn and be motivated by that we're influenced by fear. So the next time someone says something to you a little off color or off-putting, just understand they're responding to something they're afraid of. And what can you do to support them in that effort? And a lot of times when you take your eyes off yourself, it's amazing how your own problems become less of an issue, because now something magical happens when you focus on someone else and help them navigate their own fears. That's just basic human dynamic stuff. And I'm glad that challenged you and you brought that up there.
Anything from the students?
Hi, Eric. This is Xander. In chapter 14, you specifically talk about living your story. And one of the things that challenged me, I'd like to think of myself as a high achieving academic student. You talk about how you're expected to get good grades in high school. And being that we have a bunch of dual credit opportunities at Marshtown High School, I've had the opportunity to take a lot of advanced classes. And this year especially, I haven't necessarily maintained the grade point average that I've wanted. I've always strived to have the perfect 4.0, be perfect in school and stuff like that. And being that I'm in more challenging courses, I find that that's significantly harder to do. So I just found it to be really challenging to try and accept that, one, because the fear of not being perfect, and then kind of just, I was always really good at school, and being that I'm challenged now, it's hard for me to accept the fact that everything doesn't come so easily to me anymore.
That's beautiful, Zandog. I love that. You're very articulate and a good-looking young man. I don't care what they say. That's fantastic, man. That's awesome. You know what I would say is you're going through transformation, and transformation is what's required to level up in life. You know, when I went to the United States Military Academy, I thought I was pretty big stuff, Xander. I mean, I was the president of my class, captain of the track team, cross-country team, had a really fantastic girlfriend, drove the nicest car. I thought I was big stuff. Then I went to the United States Military Academy. Everybody was the class president. Everybody drove the nice cars. Everybody was the captain of their team. And it really humbled me, but it also took me to another level. And when I ran cross country there, I was running with the top 5 program in the country. Everybody was fast. And you know what happens, Xander, is you become faster, you become better. So I'm actually encouraged by you that you're challenging yourself, because that means that you're willing to go through the transformation. And on the other side of that transformation is a better Xander that awaits. Now, the other thing to remember when it comes to that, though, is you also have to release the areas that you're weak in, Xander, because you suck at those things. You're never going to be strong. Focus on the 2 or 3 things that you're really good at and double down on that, because what the world needs is the unique strength that you have, Xander, that maybe Legay doesn't have or Charles doesn't have. They have their own set of strengths. So double down on that. So lean into those and don't get so upset on areas that that are harder for you, because the world doesn't need that from you anyway. Does that make sense, Xander?
Yes.
That's awesome, dude. Good job, man.
Hi, my name is Caitlin. My question was, when writing your book, was it ever hard to be vulnerable?
Oh yeah, Special K. Did you read the book about my mom and my dad? I had to really dig deep into my own personal experience. I mean, in the book it talks about my rock bottom when my wife says I wasn't living up to what she needed as a husband. And I got to tell you, when I first started the book, to be very open with you, I was going to use a ghostwriter. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's when you hire somebody else to write your story, and you just interview with them, and they take your story and they write it in your own words. I started that process, Caitlin. I didn't like it because I wasn't able to go through the transformation required to write the book. So I got up every day at 4:30 in the morning for 9 months and wrote the book. And I got to tell you, there were times I was writing it with tears in my eyes because it brought up things that I'd forgotten about. And so that transformation I had to go through and the hard things I had to remember was really tough. And so, yeah, it brought a lot out of that. Hopefully you could see that in some of the writing. But thank you for that question. That was fantastic.
Hi, Eric. I am Legay. And reading your book, I realized that I've gained an interest in public speaking, which is a big fear of mine. But when reading chapter 23, I realized that fear is not something that's always negative. It can be something that can push me, out of my comfort zone. And that chapter really resonated with me. And as someone who is interested in public speaking, I was wondering if you have any advice.
Yeah. First of all, one of my best friends in high school was named Legay. So that was fantastic. So already you're my favorite between the 4 of you. First of all, what I would say is that whenever, Legay, when you want to do something that's important to you, when you start to feel fear and resistance, that's the number one indicator you're on the right track. That's just the way the universe, that's the way the world works. Whenever you start moving towards the path you're supposed to go, that's when fear and resistance really gets loud. When you start really challenging maybe the status quo in your life, that's when the enemy, the beast, shows up the loudest. So I actually take it as a compliment when I start to feel that resistance. So that means you're on the right track. So in order to be a really good speaker, I will tell you this: it has nothing to do with your skill set as a speaker. Actually, some of the best speakers I know are not very articulate. The best speakers have an audience that they want to impact. They have a problem that they want that they want to help that audience to solve, and they've got a solution to that problem, and they got a transformation that if they were to do that solution, right? So what you got to think about is, who are the people that you really want to impact, that you want to really make a difference in their lives? Because you can't help everybody. You got to help a specific group of people. What is a problem you want to help them solve? And then what's your solution? I'll give you an example. My daughter is very articulate. My daughter's a Christian girl. She's made a decision that she wants to abstain until she gets married. That's very important to her. She wants to be with someone that wants to have a family and a very wholesome environment. And she got ridiculed by some friends that she was doing that. And she had boyfriends who would break up with her because of what she wanted to, her vision for her life. Well, she's actually going to create a podcast for other young women that want to do the same. And she wants to help them, if they choose to go down that path, to do that. She's solving a specific problem. She has a voice that goes out there. So my question for you, Legay, is what is an audience that you really resonate with that you'd love to impact? Is there some group in mind you're thinking about?
There isn't a particular group in mind, but for me, community service is really important. And in our district, we have so many students that are, strong representation of our district. And I'm not really sure how to answer the question, but yeah.
Well, community service is great. So what is it about community service that you like? How have you been able to engage in community service with your busy schedule? Because you're obviously sharp. You got a lot of stuff going on. What you want to do is kind of unpack what are the things you've done that allowed you to engage in this passion, and then communicate that to others. Like, hey, if this is something you're interested in, here's what's helped me. See, that's the main thing. People just want to learn how to avoid pain. They want to learn how to up-level their strengths and skill sets. And if you can give them a path, a process that helped you, then people love that. And I'll tell you the other thing that people love about speakers, they love people that walk on stage with a limp. Meaning that if you're perfectly gay, nobody can relate to that. But if you have a story to tell and you had to overcome something, people love that. So what you just need to do is gather data, start to gather the things you're passionate about, things that you're doing really well in, and ask yourself, how can you communicate to that others, and set yourself up with scenarios that allows you to speak. Like today, for instance, this is a speaking opportunity you're going through right now. The more you do it, the more clarity you're going to get on what works best for you. That's something for all the students in here, and really all the board members, because listen, Sarah and Karina, we don't stop growing, do we? We still got needs, wants, and desires. Zandog, when you're looking at Sean over there, it looks like he's at the end of his life, right? He looks really old. But guess what? He's got dreams and desires and things he wants to accomplish in the next phase of life. You know what I've learned? I work with a lot of professional speakers. I've trained NBA athletes, NFL folks, Hollywood stars. All of them are just trying to figure it out, right? They're just trying to figure out what the next phase looks like. And you know what the number one thing that holds most people back, Legay, is they're looking for clarity before they can take the first step. That's not how life works. The way life works is you got to start taking the steps, and then clarity will start to formulate in front of you. So you got to ask yourself what the next step would be for you. And I think the next step for you is get yourself in front of people and start delivering talks the best way you can in any type of setting, and kind of see what works for you, and then take it from there.
Thank you, Eric.
That was a great question. That was fantastic. Charles, what do you got, man?
Yeah. So I was reading chapter 16, and so talking about showing up to people. So how do you show up? And that kind of stuck out to me. It almost kind of convicted me too, because I'm hyper involved in my sports, my extracurriculars in school, and during this time I get super busy. And I often don't have enough time sometimes for family or friends and just people that and I care about and care about me. And so that kind of almost just convicted me in that sense of, hey, am I spending enough time with my friends? Am I spending enough time with my family? And then also maybe on my track team, like right now it's track season, I do track, and maybe like, hey, maybe am I hanging out too much with my friends? Do I need to spend more time with people that are off, from the group? Am I showing up for them? We're part of a team. We need to be together with that. And so that's kind of convicted me, and that's kind of helped me now during track so far with this, and then also with like NHS and some other clubs, that's just helping make sure we're all in a group together and we're all showing up for each other.
That's awesome, dude. My man. That's fantastic. Charles, I would tell you that if you're thinking about it, you've already won the battle. The fact that you're thinking about it means you're already there. It's when you're not thinking about it and you're not aware. So good on you for doing that. One thing I would suggest is every week before you start the week, I'd pick one or two people in your life that you want to be intentional with. Right? And just say, I want to focus on them. And all you got to do, maybe it's a text, maybe it's hey, sit next to them at lunch, ask them a few good questions and be curious. And that's it. And just try to be intentional with one or two people every week. And then you will start to spread that joy a little bit more there. I'm just curious, what event do you run in track?
Oh, I run a great many events because I get hurt often. I'm mostly a swimmer. I'm a fish out of water when I run. So I started with the mile. I went to the 800. Then I went to the 400. Then I went to the 200. And then at tomorrow night's track meet, I'm running the 100. And this is because I get injured often. So right now I'm a sprinter, which doesn't sit well with me. And it's kind of funny. My dad is a track coach, and he's here tonight to talk about track.
What's your dad's name?
Bob.
Hey, Bob, my man. I love it, man. I got two boys. Bob, I ran track, and I got twin boys at the United States Military Academy. One's a sprinter, Charles. He runs the 200, 400, and the other runs 1,500, 5,000. And I just went to Annapolis to watch one of them run in the Army-Navy track meet, and he ran a 3:55. That's a 4:12 mile. It's not bad. I mean, he's a freshman. He's getting there. My PR is 4:06 in the mile. That's the best I could ever do. So proud dad back there. Bob, whatever he's asking for, give it to him. We don't give our track folks enough. I think they want to travel somewhere. He shouldn't even have to get up there. Just give it to him.
Well, I say 4:06. That's pretty good. That's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah, I was proud of that. The track team I was on, we were ranked as high as number 2 in the country. It was a phenomenal time to be a part of something really special. I was on the team with the future Olympians, All-Americans, and Hall of Famers, and I learned a lot from those guys. In fact, even to this day, Charles, those guys were very close. We get together every 90 days, even 30 years later, just to encourage one another. So it's amazing the relationships you're creating in your athletics and stuff right now. It's going to stay with you for the rest of your life. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Well, Eric, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Is there anything that you want to say about what we have to look forward to this fall?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be fantastic. I'm going to be coming out there August 21st. And let me tell you, nobody can get more out of me than Theron. When I go there, he uses me and abuses me. He's got me doing 3 things there. We're going to be doing the 21st Mile. It's a new book I'm working on, and also a 21 docu-series that's coming out. It's called 21st Mile, Run Your Race and Win at Life. Bob, you can use this to motivate your track athletes. You should get the book. You should come check out the talk I'm going to be doing. We're also going to be the Rise Above Chaos Planner, which is a companion to that book. It's the 7 Elements of the Perfect Day and How to Tame the Beast on a Daily Basis. That's coming out. In fact, it's being shipped from Colombia as we speak, and I'm bringing it for the admin assistants. I'm going to train them on that. And then The World Belongs to the Encourager. That's the talk I just did in Hancock County. We're doing that in your community event. It's going to be awesome. Theron, I would say for everybody today, if you do nothing else, here's the action item I would recommend for everybody. What I would do before the weekend, do this exercise, this homework assignment, so you choose to do it, and you must. I want you to all do this. Take out a piece of paper, including you, Bob, back there. Take out a piece of paper at some time before the weekend's over, and I want you to write down today's date 5 years from today. And then write down family, career, and personal. And write down what you want your life to look like 5 years from today, because that's your vision for the future. And what I found is when you write something down, something magical happens when you do that. And when you write that down, your subconscious mind is going to start working on that vision. It's a beautiful gift that you can give yourself. The last thing you do is write down all the things that are holding you back from accomplishing that vision. And then by doing that and you write it down, it will cause your subconscious mind to start working on it. That's when you start having your aha moments. So if you do nothing else, create that vision for yourself, write down your obstacles, and then see what happens after that. It's fantastic. Thank you so much there, and I look forward to seeing you here in a couple months.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
you. Hey, Eric, can you say
Yeah.
that once again? Is it a family, career? Did you say purpose?
Yeah, family, career, and personal. Those are three major areas that I wanted to
Personal.
put down. Thank you
Thank
for asking
you.
that. Sorry I said that too fast. All right, see you later.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Ryan? Bob?
Speaking of track,
I think we need to send that guy a few lattes from the Bobcat Cafe. He's got a lot of energy to write his next book. So, we are here today to seek permission for out-of-state travel for boys track team. Was here a few years ago. Same for the boys golf team to play in a tournament over in Illinois. So, Coach Govertson approached me a few weeks ago about this. He had 5 kids approach him about setting a goal to qualify for a national event. And why Kansas versus Iowa? Well, they want to run in the 4-by-mile race, which is not offered in Iowa. So the closest one would be the Kansas Relays. So similar to the Drake Relays, a pretty well-known event with high school as well as college and professional track athletes. So they'd go down Thursday, April 7th or April 17th, and then stay the night, and then compete Friday, then come home, go in a school vehicle, and come back Friday. Bob, anything to add?
We would run at 9:30 in the morning, which is why we'd have to go down the night before. And then these guys, all 5 of the guys that could potentially run, they're all part of the cross-country team that qualified for state, put a lot of time in. And the qualifying mark for nationals for the 4-by-mile is 18:06, which goes to about a 4:31.5 mile average, which I think is attainable for them. We'd have to run fairly well, but I think it's pretty attainable.
Is nationals in Eugene then? Or?
It's in Eugene, June 19th to the 22nd.
Questions?
This is something that the cross-country boys approached you about wanting to do?
Yeah, it actually started back in like November after state cross-country happened, and then it kind of gained some more strength over the winter.
Is it like, so they just have to qualify with the time? It's not like the top 50 with that time?
They just released the standards actually just this week.
Did they?
And so there's an automatic qualifying standard, which is at 18:06. There's a provisional one too, which if they don't make it, they could possibly go. But if they run that time, they would get to go.
That's exciting. That's exciting.
Any other questions? Then is there a motion to approve the travel request for MHS boys track team to the Kansas Relays as presented?
Move to approve.
Second.
Hernandez, Stanley, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Good luck, yeah. It's next week.
Good Friday, Easter. It's Good Friday.
Hello, I got pumped with that speaker. I like motivational speakers.
Well, he's going to be doing the keynote to open the school year next year. So.
That's good. Thank you. It's me again, Sandra Tracy. So we would like to request the board to approve us to start fundraising by asking the community for our family and for our FCCLA. I just learned today that Helen will not be able to go to the States because she is going to Texas with us to spend time with her grandparents. So we will still we will need funds for our FCCLA. So we will still ask to approve the for fundraising for future, so we could go to these competitions and. We could participate.
Do we get the video to work?
Oh yeah, the video.
From Marshalltown National Qualifier, Helen Schur.
Sorry, I didn't know how to video.
And in Level 3 Career Investigation.
Hello everyone, my name is Helen Schur, and today I would like to talk about how I made it to nationals. I first started by picking a career I was interested in, which was nursing. Then I started to investigate and learn more about it. After preparing myself with the help from my FCCLA advisor, Mrs. Tracy, we went to state conference in Cedar Rapids. I had to present in front of 3 judges for the career investigation competition, level 2 for sophomores. I'm extremely grateful for this opportunity and experience. It helped me to be more comfortable with public speaking and meeting new people. This experience strengthened my passion for helping others. The next day, our chapter went to the Center Rivers District awarding, when I was awarded the silver medal, and shortly after, we all went to the closing session where they announced all the students who had qualified for nationals. I was really surprised when I saw my name on the screen, but after a lot of patience and hard work, I was qualified for nationals. Now, as I prepare myself for nationals, I am excited to continue learning and improving. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
So Helen is not the student that will be going to this conference, and
She's the student.
she is a student?
Yes.
Okay.
But
she's not going, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I just learned that today. That
So we don't
need to approve.
we don't need to approve anything then?
this. Right.
Yeah, you would just work with Mr. Bolivar on the fundraising aspects of stuff, and if he has any questions relative to what you're looking to want to do, then he'll reach out to the district office.
Okay, and if in case she changed her mind, will she be able to go if family things change? I don't know. Just
I mean, if she changed her mind and she was going to go, I think come back and make the request at that point in time.
all right. Sounds good. Thank you
Yep.
so much.
Thank you.
You.
Jackie, you ready?
We got student handbook, which you spoke about last time, I think.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Student employee.
Yeah.
Right. So last time I was here, I presented the student employee handbook to you and demonstrated the changes in how the employee handbook was not necessarily applicable to the students. So after we've had an opportunity to review the changes that we would make, so it would become a good reference guide for our students, today I'm asking that the board approve the student handbook as presented from the last board meeting.
And there weren't any changes made from the last
There
time
were
around,
no
there,
changes
Jackie?
made. There were
Okay.
no recommendations from anybody that I was made aware of.
Any questions? Then is there a motion to approve the 24-25 student employee handbook as presented?
So moved. Second.
Baltus Wise? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys ready?
Good afternoon, school board members.
We're going to start off with the boys and girls soccer team. This year, the girls have returned 3 of their top 5 goal scorers. Last year, they were led by McKenna Coleman, who had 8. The MHS girls, they also beat Newton in their first game, their opener. The boys, they got first in their annual Bobcat Boys varsity soccer tournament. This was the first one that was held in the new football stadium, so that was great for us. They won against Des Moines Christian, and then they also opened off with a very strong win against South Tama, 7-1.
Okay, so for National History Day, the district contest was held in Pella at the Central College campus. So there were 17 students that participated this year in National History Day, and all 17 qualified. And for that, you have to qualify for state. You have to be either first or second. Maybe third. I don't believe it's third. I think it's first or second. I'm sorry. I didn't do it this year, so I'm hazy. But I think so. That means all of them got first or second in their categories. Now I'm thinking it actually is top three. So they all got top three. So that was good. Sorry. So that was a very big achievement for them, and there are several individuals who qualified for nationals last year, like Isaac Benscooter and Isaac Seeberger, and they, I know, are wanting to qualify again this year. And there's a lot of other projects that are able to do so as well. So we're looking forward for that. And this is also the largest contingent of students that's qualified to state for in a while. So this is very big news and good news for us.
Last month, 11 of our MHS students participated in the State Science and Technology Fair of Iowa. The students were able to showcase their projects they've been working on for this semester, and 9 of them were awarded scholarships from 500 and 1,000 from colleges in Iowa, with 3 of them finishing top 3. And congratulations to James Marquez, who was awarded a trip to the Regeneron International Science Fair in Columbus, Ohio, for placing 3rd in freshman projects. We are really proud of our students.
And then again, kind of just a recap. 3 MHS students represented our district at the Iowa FCCLA State Leadership in Cedar Rapids. Helen Schur earned a silver medal in career investigation, and Adrian Maston won a gold medal in job interview.
Okay, so we're going to also talk about Quiz Bowl because we did not know who was going to get recognized tonight. So for Quiz Bowl, we had the 2025 state competition, and I believe this is actually the 15th year of the Quiz Bowl League happening in Iowa. So it's kind of a nice anniversary and a good way to kick off. They had a nice little presentation beforehand, and Jager Purchase was recognized with All-State honors, and this was his 2nd time doing so. I know he's a very talented individual who has put a lot of work in for Quiz Bowl, and he's honestly the reason why we got 2nd this year. Out of all the points, I believe that our team scored, I think it was like 80% of the points would be attributed to him. So he's a very talented individual with this. He's great at school, and he just loves Quiz Bowl. And then Ella, who is also not here tonight, she is great with Quiz Bowl. She knows all things biology and science, and occasionally she'll get some like literature questions with like Lewis Carroll and Alice in Wonderland, I think. So we're all great students. We all had fun, and we got 2nd this year at state, which is a huge achievement because we got 8th last year. So just that huge spike. And as we talked about earlier, so there's about 4 teams too, like Western Dubuque was that first team in the other bracket, and Waukee Northwest, and then Iowa City High. All of us kind of traded places throughout the competition. It was really just depending on the packet of questions and what kind of favored. The last packet did not favor us, and so we lost, but it favored us when we faced Western Dubuque, so we beat them handedly, and just it's kind of like this weird flow. But overall, we did really, really well, and we're happy to go forward with this and see what happens next year.
Any questions? Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks.
Audit time.
Audit time. I think Christy Wick from Hogan Hansen. Christy, are you there? Amy's getting her allowed to talk. Christy, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you. Okay. Can you see me and hear me?
Yep, we can see you and hear you.
All right. Well, yeah, as Randy mentioned, my name is Christy Wick, and I'm with the accounting firm of Hogan Hansen in Mason City. First of all, I really enjoyed hearing all of the amazing things you have going on in your district. Just really, really cool. And it's kind of hard to follow all that up. So with the audit, so I'll do.
With something as exciting.
So I'll be presenting the audit for the fiscal year that ended June 30th, 2024. I'm just going to briefly highlight a few things, but please feel free to stop me if you have any questions, or if there's something I don't cover that you have questions on, just go ahead and stop me. And I'll just, as I go through things, I'll point out the page that we're on so that it's easy to follow along. First, I'll have you turn to page 1. I'm sorry, page 2.
Page 6 on the PDF.
Oh, yeah. I don't have the PDF.
No, so I'm just helping our tech director out. She's managing.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks. So what we have here on this page is the independent auditor's report, and this is on actually pages 2 through 4. This is why we do the audit. It's so that we can give our opinion on the financial statements. And those first 2 paragraphs, that's where we give that opinion. And I'll just read that second paragraph there just to say that out loud. In our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the governmental activities, the business type activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of Marshalltown Community School District as of June 30, 2024, and the respective changes in its financial position and, where applicable, cash flows thereof for the year then ended in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. So that is the best possible opinion that we can give.
That's good. Okay. We'll take it.
All right, next I'll have you turn to report page 5. Yep. So what you'll see on pages 5 through 14, and some of you have probably heard me say this before, if I don't know if you've read any of this yet, read any of the audit report or not, but if you were going to read any section of it, I would recommend these 10 pages. It's called the Management's Discussion and Analysis. And what it is, it's really just a nice summary of everything else that's in the report. It's very comprehensive. It's much easier to read than everything else, all the financial statements and footnotes and whatnot. So as a board member, that would be my recommendation to you, is to read those 10 or so pages. Next, I'll have you turn all the way to page 71.
$78.
71.
But 78 on the PDF, sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, my bad.
You're good.
All right. So what we have on these next few pages is the schedule of findings and question costs. So when we go through the audit, besides all the numbers, auditing the numbers, we look at a couple other things. We look at internal controls, and then the state has certain compliance steps that we need to test as well. So the first section of this report has any internal control findings that we have. I'll just talk about a few of them. The first one there is segregation of duties. This is a repeat finding, and it's also a very common finding, not just for your district, for many other districts. What this gets at is is having the optimal segregation of duties so that one person is not performing any duties that could potentially, increase the risk of fraud. So that's a hard thing to achieve. I know in our discussions with Randy, it's been a process, and that's something that the business office is working towards. But really, that's what this gets at: is it's not perfect, but a lot of times it never is perfect. But it's a finding that we have to put in our audit report. Next, I'll have you just go one more page to page 72. And this particular finding has to do with supporting documentation. Throughout the audit, we select different samples of expenses. And in particular, we have to look at a lot of the federal grants and what those are being spent on. And in this particular finding, what we found is there was just one out of our sample of 25 that there was not supporting documentation available for. We don't feel this is like a prevalent thing by any means, but and in fact, sometimes we felt maybe it could be an isolated instance, but because it's with federal awards, a lot of times those are a little more scrutinized, and we need to keep our audit report. We want to make sure that we're reporting those adequately, since there was one finding or one expenditure without the supporting documentation. So that's why we included that here. And then we'll go to the next page, 73, and this is where all the different compliance items that the state puts out for us that we need to look at. Just a couple, one I'll highlight for the budget. You can see that first finding there, expenditures for the year ended June 30, 24 exceeded the certified budget amounts in the instruction, support services, and non-instructional program functions. In working through this, we found that, yes, that was the case, but it just had to do with some reclassifications of how expenses were coded, and then also some timing of purchases that were for, they were for after-school programs and summer curriculum that was not anticipated at the time that the budget was, or the budget amendments were done. Let's see. Then at the bottom of that page, there's a certified enrollment one. This is actually very common. It's a pretty tedious process for many districts to sort out all the certified enrollment. But nonetheless, we still have to report any variances. There was a variance in the basic enrollment data certified to the Iowa Department of Ed. Was noted due to students being counted but not enrolled. The variance resulted in a decrease of 3 students is all. Then the next page, we'll go down to item 24, Roman numeral 4K, certified annual report. The certified annual report was certified timely, which has to be done by September 15th. But we did note some differences between the amounts reported and the district's final records. And this is just simply because we're still going through some of our audit procedures after that certified annual report is filed. And therefore, we propose some adjustments after the fact. It's not going to match exactly. And lastly, I just want to say thank you. I want to thank Randy for everything that you do, and the business office staff. We ask lots of questions and ask for lots of information, and we really appreciate your working with us on that. So thank you. Are there any questions?
Doesn't look like it.
All right.
Thank you, Christy.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Randy, is there anything you'd like to speak to regarding the audit, or?
No, I think Christy hit all of it pretty well. I will say I want to publicly thank Christy and Hogan Hansen. They've been our auditor for the last several years. They came on board after we had our special payroll investigation several years ago. Unfortunately, due to staffing challenges that they're facing, like many auditors are, this was the last audit of our current contract year, and they will not be participating in our RFP proposal. So it's a little sad to hear that, but I also understand as well. But just wanted to extend my gratitude to Christy and the rest of the team at the Hogan Hansen firm. They've been really great to work with. So.
Thanks, Randy.
We need a motion to accept if there's no other questions, we need a motion to accept the 23-24 fiscal year audit as presented.
So moved. Second.
Office Wise. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Christy.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Budget. I will start, with a handful of, I don't know, I think it's kind of a mixed bag. I think there's highlights and lowlights this year. I mean, not that there's anything like significantly one way or the other. I don't, Amy, if you want to scroll down to the next, there we go. Not really much, if anything, has changed since the last time I presented on the budget to all of you. What you see in front of you tonight, we are still looking at a tax rate increase of $1.23, which is lower than the originally anticipated $1.28. So we'll be looking at going up from $14.75 to $15.98. SSA still has not been set, and that has probably been the biggest challenge so far. As I shared with the Finance Committee recently, I think it's been several years since we've been this late into the budget season without SSA being set, which means we're operating partially blind here. I did actually got an email just about an hour or so ago, because right now there's the House file with 2.25% SSA, along with some additional metrics such as transportation equity and some one-time funding, things of that nature. The Senate has been at 2% without any of those items. The Senate today amended the House's proposal. They kept SSA at 2%. They are keeping the House's recommendation to increase district cost per pupil to close equity gaps, increasing appropriations for transportation equity, as well as increasing operational sharing from 21 to 25 students. However, the Senate did not include the one-time supplemental funding of over $22 million that the House had. So the ball is back in the House's court, I guess, right now. But with all that said, we still have to meet statutory deadlines and have our budget certified and filed by April 30th. So that's why we are here tonight to talk about that. A couple other highlights. Voted PEPL goes into effect this next year. So we'll be able to start capitalizing on some of these additional dollars to be utilized towards a lot of facility needs, as well as, there's still needs around technology, transportation, and other areas in the district that we can increase our capacity in the district to fulfill a lot of those needs a lot sooner. Overall, our financial metrics do continue to measure healthy. We'll go over that here later in the presentation. We are seeing some downward trends, which I'll speak to, but still overall we are above our policy recommendations right now, and we're looking at some of those downward trends and have the ability to make some adjustments here going forward to maintain those. The last two, these are carryovers from the last year. There's still unknown long-term impacts on House File 2612 with the AEA reforms. We have had some recent changes to services through the AEA and really kind of having to approach it differently. We don't necessarily have a lot of those resources to rely on anymore. That was always a given in the past. Now some of those are becoming a pay-per service, which is having to force us to reevaluate and approach some things a little bit differently. Still unknown long-term impacts of the voucher bill. This next year will be the first year where there are no income restrictions with that. So we're not really sure yet what kind of impacts that'll have on that. I think this coming fall, when we see our certified count, that might start to tell that story a little bit more. Next slide, just kind of a recap what the certified budget process is. It is twofold. The first one is to meet the statutory process and timeline for establishing our property tax rate for the upcoming year, and to publish the estimated consolidated expenditures for the various funds. So there's those four areas that Christy alluded to when discussing the audit. So there's the instructional, support services, non-instructional, and then other. Two main drivers with the budget, certified enrollment, as we'll touch on here in a second. If you'll recall, our certified enrollment did increase about 28 students last fall, so that was a positive for the district. So depending on where SSA lands, we will have more than 2% new money this year. Right now, we're expecting 2 to 2.25%. When I did our budget and the proposed budget that you'll see tonight, I did utilize 2% for our budget for next year. I wasn't holding out hope for 2.25. With a 2% increase, that would be an increase of $191 per student, bringing our regular program district cost per pupil up to $78.32 for next year if the 2% holds. Next slide, that's just a recap, what you saw earlier in the fall, just where our certified enrollment as well as our served enrollment is. Both of those metrics went up from last fall, so I won't spend a lot of time on that. Excuse me, next slide is just a reminder. So with the certified budget, it goes into the school finance formula. There's over 400 lines within that formula. You as a school board have control over 7. And so those are the 7 that you see there. There's the at-risk dropout modified supplement that was approved this past December. The next section is our instructional support levy. So we have the maximum portion, which is the 10%, and then there's the income surtax piece. As you recall, the last few years we've done 1%. We're proposing that 4% to increase that to 4%. This year that does spread some of the burden out and has the income taxpayers footing some of that and by increasing that income surtax, it lowers the property tax. Cash reserve levy, with our financial solvency ratios where they're currently at, there's a metric formula to do a cash reserve levy. We are still above that metric. So right now for next year, we don't have the ability to levy additional taxes to build up a cash reserve. But in the event that we were to meet those metrics, that is something that the board could authorize. Our management fund is completely 100% board controlled, so you'll see the levy there for next year at just a little over $1.5 million. And then the regular portion of the PEPL, which is the max 33 cents that you see there. On the next slide, just a quick recap that the tax rate, it's a function of the district's taxable valuation of property. A district with lower valuation per student will have higher tax rates than a district with more property value. So we are a property poor, student rich district. So the tax dollars have to work a little bit harder to get to that formula calculated amount. Again, just a reminder that the operation of the foundation formula, the majority of the tax rate is not subject to local discretion, which then takes me to the next slide. For our tax rate for next year, you'll see that breakdown. So 49% of our tax rate for next year is funded by the formula. And then there is voter controlled levy, which would be the debt service that was passed with the vote this past November, as well as the voted PEPL. That comes out to 26.12% of our total tax rate for next year, or $4.17. The 49% formula controlled is $7.85, and then the board controlled, which would be the instructional support, as well as dropout prevention and our management, accounted for 24.72% of our total levy, which was about $3.95 of the total. And then on the next slide is just the same slide, but it's just showing the breakout of the tax rate by each of the funds. Next slide is hard to read, but I don't know, Amy, if you want to open the other document in Board Docs real quick. Not that this is much easier to read, but this is what gets published in the paper. So this breaks down our estimated revenues and expenditures in total for the upcoming year. What I had highlighted on the PowerPoint is the total expenditures by each of those 4 functional areas that I referenced earlier. And then at the very bottom in teeny tiny print, you can see the tax rate for next year, but this is what would be published in the paper. And then on the next slide, not the easiest to read, just a quick breakdown of where we're, on the top is where we're estimating our current fund balances for each of the funds to end this year. And then on the bottom half of the slide, you'll see where we're anticipating them to be for next year. So overall, pretty healthy. We are seeing some significant, I shouldn't say significant. We are seeing a steady or a steeper drop in the general fund than what we originally anticipated. A lot of that is due to coming out of post-COVID. There's been some expenditures that the district has kept mainly within supplies, software, purchase services that we are working on drilling down into because we have maintained a lot of those expenditures post-COVID that were originally funded through COVID and ESSER dollars. So we are looking at what is driving those so that we can make some necessary adjustments or look at some potential other funding sources, whether that be additional grants or whatnot. But that's probably the biggest thing that sticks out on this slide here. Management fund, we're seeing a decrease there. We are tapping into some reserves. Part of that was to hold the tax rate lower. Another reason is that as we continue to not offer early retirement, we're not needing to levy as much, but we're also balancing that out with increasing property insurance premiums, as well as the new landscape with having to purchase wind hail deductible buy down insurance. Like this last year, for instance, that was an extra $250,000 that fortunately we had reserves for. There is some property tax reform bills in the legislature right now that could have an impact, not only on the management fund, but just how everything is funded as a whole, which I'll touch on more here when we get into our forecasting here in a minute, but something to keep in mind. But otherwise, we've had quite an influx of expenses this year. Some of that, a lot of that is the property purchases that Dr. Schutte will go over with the board tonight in relation to the Miller Middle School project. So that's why you see that for FY25, there's that sharp decrease in the PEPAL fund balance. But with the increase in the PEPAL levy for next year, we're going to be able to build that fund balance right back up again. Tomorrow there's a special board meeting to sell revenue bonds related to the project. So you'll see that $30 million coming into it'll come into SAVE, and then we'll transfer it into a separate capital projects fund so that we can track the expenditures for that project. Otherwise, I don't think there was anything else with fund balances that stood out to me that I felt the need to comment on, but if anyone has any questions, I will field those. Next two slides. This slide, I just always like to, this is always just a nice reminder of these are the different fund and buckets that we have. The ones highlighted in yellow are the ones that actually have property taxes levied to them. But in each fund, you can see what are allowable revenues within each fund, and then what the allowable expenditures are in each fund. Next slide, just a quick recap. You're all pretty familiar with the tax levying fund. So here are some of the other funds that we have. We have our student activity fund, which is under board control. It's extracurricular student activities, and it's self-supporting. So it's funded typically through gate receipts, fundraisers, donations, et cetera. School nutrition fund, that's a self-supporting enterprise fund. Typically supported by payments for meal accounts. Since we are a CEP district, we do receive federal, state and federal funding based on our free and reduced counts. And then we have our self-insurance fund, which we are fully self-insured, and we have a fund set up to manage our health and dental insurance plans. And then we have a fiduciary fund with the district that is the fiscal agent for several scholarships. So usually about this time of year, we start getting information from the high school for students that have been awarded scholarships. And then we get those students' information, and then we send the scholarship payments out to the school or college that they're attending in the fall. And then a new one that I didn't add on here because it's kind of temporary. We do have an agency fund that was set up recently. So with the TPRA program, we are part of a consortium that we are the fiscal agent for. So as we get the reimbursements from the TPRA program for the other districts, we have to flow those through an agency fund. So it's basically money in, money out. So the money that we get for those other districts participating their portion, we put it into the agency fund, and then we cut them a check for their portion that was received from the state. Any questions before I get into the forecasting? Okay. Again, I know some of these slides are kind of hard to see, but first of all, just certified enrollment overall. Just the blue bars are our certified enrollment history and projections. As you can see, we've been fairly steady over the last several years. The purple bars show our certified enrollment swings the last few years. So we've had, as you recall, we've had some big swings with after the tornado, and then students being displaced and then coming back. Same thing with the derecho, had some swings with COVID. So you can kind of see those up and downs there. But projecting out, we're projecting a 5 student per year decrease that holds steady with our historical trend, which is those blue bars on the left-hand side. So over the last 10 years, we've averaged a decrease of roughly 3.28 students. So did a little bit more of a conservative estimate there and estimated a 5 student decrease for the 5 years out. Property tax on the next slide. Right now we're holding steady it's at roughly 90, 95, 96 going out. That's with that student enrollment decline. We did also project a 2% SSA year over year. So with those two things, and then having the voted PEPL as well as our debt service, we're able to maintain those. But then as we go into the next slide, with that property tax slide, we're not projecting any levying of cash reserve. So we could potentially levy cash reserve in the future once we're able to qualify, which would bring these forecasted solvency ratios up. But that would come at a cost of increasing the tax rate. So what we're looking at first is looking at our expenditures to truly identify what are needs and priorities of the district, and looking at maybe cutting some expenditures before we look at potentially levying any cash reserve taxes. But I say all this now, and then there could be a property tax reform that can make all of what I'm talking about completely meaningless tomorrow. So that's part of the challenge that we're navigating through right now. So we'll wait and see what, because we still don't know what the property tax reform, what kind of impact that'll have on districts. From what we have heard, it's going to change the funding finance formula to where this, they'll lower the uniform levy down from 540 to, I believe, 292 was the rate, and then backfill the rest of that combined district cost that the formula does with state aid. But we'll see what that looks like. But with the information that we have today, this is where we're projecting. I know that's a pretty steep decline, and when I first started pulling the numbers together and updating them this year, that caught me a little by surprise as well, because we weren't originally anticipating this large of a decline. But again, usually once you get about over 3 years out, it gets a little, the data gets a little bit more volatile, and it doesn't take much to swing it one way or another. So again, we're internally looking at pinpointing what is being maintained at high levels, and to see if there's any room to make adjustments. And we'll continue to share that information as it becomes available.
Randy, remind me, what's our board metric goal for solvency ratio?
Board metric goal is still 8%, but IASB is 10 to 15%. I know we had talked about updating board policy to be within that IASB range. It's just one of the items I haven't gotten around to yet, but yep, that's where we're at.
Okay, and I just have a question, since it's my only second time going through budget. Will you just explain what the solvency ratio is for me?
It's basically it's a measurement of cash on hand to pay the bills. Is kind of the summary, short way to explain that. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So some of that is planned, bringing down the solvency rate.
Yeah, it was, because with the influx of ESSER dollars, that's what really shot us up before. I mean, because we were at 25%, as you can see, and that gives off an impression that you're hoarding money and not spending it on students, which wasn't the case. I think at the time we were just there was more money coming in than what was going out. There was just that large of an influx of dollars that it was difficult to spend. So there was, yes, some of this decline was intended. What wasn't intended was the steepness of the decline. So that's what we're going to look at, right sizing and getting back under control. But not a cause for alarm yet, but definitely something to be mindful of as we work through and figure out what adjustments we need to make. And then the next slide is the unspent authorized budget. This is the major one that school districts should be mindful of and need to keep an eye on. Again, ours has been steady because we have a steady enrollment over the last 10 years or so. So this is not anything we typically worry about. We are very healthy here, and as long as we maintain a steady student enrollment, there should never be an issue. Where districts can face challenges with this is if they're facing declining enrollment year after year, and then you end up on the budget guarantee year after year. So if you have several years in a row of declining enrollment, this can go down in a hurry, and that's when you hear about districts really making significant budget cuts, is to get this under control and stop any bleeding they may be encountering there. So, and then just the last slide, just some quick takeaways I had here. Again, while I did, there are some declines there. Overall, we're still financially strong per our metrics. Some right size adjustments that need to be made, but again, that's why we look at this data. That's why we have these conversations, is so that when we do see these types of things, we can identify them early enough to make the necessary corrections and adjustments. Our tax rate projections are still the lowest that they've been in several years. We've made a conscious effort to bring that tax rate down over the last several years, and even with the increase back up with the bond vote and the PEPL coming in, we're still able to keep that tax rate well below what it's been in prior years. Again, ESSER dollars sunsetted June 30th of last year. So as I mentioned, we've maintained some ESSER level spending in certain areas that we need to identify a little bit closer to see what corrections need to be made. And then I touched on that potential property tax reform bill. Morse code over there. Okay. But yeah, we don't know what the impacts are fully yet of that tax reform bill. I will say, from what I've heard, I do believe the legislature is definitely taking their time on that one to make sure to try to minimize the negative impacts. But again, until that's passed, we won't really know what the full impacts are. So we're being mindful of that as well. And then our unspent authorized balance, which again is the most important metric that districts have to monitor, that is more than healthy there. But that's all I have on the certified budget. If anyone has any questions for me.
Are there questions for Randy?
I guess I didn't really touch on it. So what we need to do tonight is to set a public hearing for our April 21st meeting. It's the second public hearing that we have to have with the budget. It's the normal one that most of you have been through several years in the past with that published budget with the four expenditure areas, functions. So looking at setting the public hearing for the next board meeting, April 21st, and then probably be looking to adopt the budget later that evening as well, so that we can get it filed by the April 30th deadline.
No, I would just say, you noted the tax rate, Randy, and you've got some of the historical there, and we were up in the 18 and a half.
21 at 1.0
or higher, yeah. So 1595.
1595.
And I appreciate that we recognize that maybe we don't want that solvency rate to come down quite as quickly as it's projecting to come down, and we're
a little bit quicker than I wanted it to, yeah.
We're working on it.
Yep.
So if there are no other questions, is there a motion to Set a public hearing for Monday, April 21, 2025 at 5 p.m. and direct the board secretary to publish the 25-26 certified budget estimate in compliance with Iowa code.
So moved. Second.
Sarah, was that you?
Yeah.
Okay. Faltus Stanley. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 7-0. Probably can't wait till 2054.
I know, I saw that. Whoa.
Let's take our time.
I hope I'm retired by then.
So I'm here tonight just to remind you that this is a typical Chromebook replacement, something that we do every year and that we have in the budget. We went out for RFP, request for proposal, to ensure that we had the lowest price on the devices we were requesting. And CDWG came in the lowest at $518,660. And so they won the bid for actually all components of it. So the Acer Chromebooks that were touch, non-touch, the cabinets and the bump cases, that's to protect it, especially at the higher levels that send them home. So the tech department is recommending we go with CDWG for our typical Chromebook replacement.
And is that amount the budget, I mean, within your budgeted amount? I know it's the regular replacement cycle, but is that amount within your budgeted amount?
Yes.
Okay. Other questions? Is there a motion to approve the Chromebook replacement as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Wise, Faltus. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Schutte, you want to buy some property? Is that what?
Yeah. Amy, if you can pull up for me, please, the Miller property map PDF, the last attachment. So we've been pleasantly surprised at how quickly that Kurt Pauley and Century 21 have been able to facilitate property purchase agreements for us with a number of the current residents. The 4 properties, as you know, we've already purchased one property, the one closest to the back of the Miller Gym off the dead end on Lynn Street. And that house has already been razed or demolished. And so this map actually shows the house still there. But what we're bringing before you tonight are the 3 properties that are owned by the Fishers and Gethiers that are on Boone Street, which is at the entrance of the parking lot to the newer gymnasium, the corner house, and the Fisher house, which is just to the north of those 2 houses on Boone Street. And then a house which is the second house to the north of that Lynn Street dead end. The agreed upon purchase price is for 1015 West Boone Street for $125,000, 1117 West Boone Street for $200,000, 110 South 12th Street for $155,000, and 208 South 12th Street for $235,000 for a grand total of $715,000. These houses are probably, for the most part, the houses that are in the best condition in that block of 10 houses. Thus, there's a few that are a little bit higher priced. The houses that we anticipate bringing forward. The one kicker to this is all of these houses are tentatively planned to be closed upon in May of this year. The kicker is that the agreement states that these residents, depending on the house, I think the rental house, which is the house closest to the parking lot entrance, we would be able to have access to, I want to say maybe late summer, early fall, but all the rest of the houses have requested permission to continue to reside through spring of next year, mainly due to, like in one case, they're going to build a home, so they need time to be able to build a home and transition in. In most cases, it's concern related to the ability to find a suitable living space that's quality and affordable. So we essentially are going to be landlords with rent-free, for that period of time. But at the end of the day, I mean, at least by next spring, just preceding construction commencing, we'll have access. We still, our goal is still to, if possible, to move some of these houses onto lots that are owned by the city and then to sell them, because we do recognize there's a shortage of housing. I think of these 4 houses, 3 of them have the greatest potential to potentially be moved. So if that is in fact the case, that'll work out well in terms of being for next spring. I think of some of the remaining houses, just based on the age of the house and the condition, there's less likelihood for the potential. But we won't really know until we can get a local mover to really get in there and take a look as to what the potential for that is. The other thing that's somewhat challenging, because we're in a community that still has a lot of above head power lines instead of below ground power lines, that logistically presents challenges if you were looking to move, especially 2-story structures, any great distance within the community. And most of the lots that the city has are in the northeast sector, due to the tornado and that sort of thing. So, but anyway, our recommendation would be for the board to give approval to purchase these 4 properties, and which will get us a good way towards acquiring the real estate that we're hopeful to get in order to, number one, provide a little bit more space for construction logistics with equipment and product that they're going to need to store near the middle school, and then long-term to increase our parking capacity, which everyone knows is greatly needed at Miller.
Questions?
With planning and like a timeline still not in place as far as like where the starting's gonna go, like that spring, being able to have that in spring will not delay anything, right? As far as expanding the parking.
Well, the parking expansion will be probably one of the last things. Right now, it's more about just having staging areas for the construction equipment and resources that they're going to need to bring on site.
Randy, do we have the money for this?
So in this block, we have, with this purchase would be 4 houses then?
Yes, there's the 3 houses that are on that corner there with Boone and 12th Street, and then there's the one house that's the second house to the north of that Lynn Street dead end there that are on the map. You can see they're circled. We own one property already off that dead end street, which isn't marked here, and the house is still showing even though it doesn't. We've demoed it already. So we actually are pretty close to having deals on the other houses. What kind of we're waiting on is working with Randy to figure out the cash flow situation, and, to stagger it so that it makes sense with available funds at the time that we're doing it. And then we're also going to push with a number of those properties to have access to the property like in the fall versus the spring, as we're seeing with some of these properties.
Other questions? If not, is there a motion to approve the purchase of 1115 West Boone Street, 1117 West Boone Street, 112 South 12th Street, and 208 South 12th Street as presented?
Move for approval.
Second.
Was that Karina? Karina, I'm sorry, Hernandez Faltis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 6-0. 7-0, sorry. And that takes us to policies. And Karina,
I have.
oh, you have them too? All right, go for it.
Okay, so there are 3 different policies here. 200.2, which is power of the board of directors, so that's basically us. 200.3, responsibilities of the board of directors, so our responsibilities. And then 200.4, which is board member social media engagement. So all of those, there weren't any changes to them, and we can mark them as reviewed.
Any questions for Leah? Then they'll all be marked as reviewed. Abby, you got anything for communications? No. Okay. Nothing more for communications? You think you've done enough?
Not this time.
Okay. Any committee reports, any committee meetings since the last time we got together? The finance committee
Yeah, finance committee met.
talked about, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we talked about pretty much everything this evening that the finance committee met and spoke about. So you're all up to date.
Any other committees that met?
Well, I'd just like to thank the board members and all of you have taken your turns at one time or another that were engaged in all those interview processes that we had. Those are, as you know, extraordinarily important decisions to make. And, it's nice for you to be a part of and or to see the process in place as it relates at least to those fit interviews and to know that, we do take into account heavily, what input we get from those committees in order to make ultimately the final decisions. So it was a lot of time. We had a lot of high quality candidates, and I think we landed on the right fit for at least 4 of those 5 positions. So
It was a good process. I appreciate that you invite us.
I also appreciate that you take the time to invite those that will be in, within the schools and really facilitate that, being able to get out of the classroom for that. And I know some of the candidates actually mentioned that, like, wow, how are you here? So that's pretty neat to see that. Pretty committed to those interviews as a district.
Okay. Any items for a future agenda anyone like to see?
we will invite or have invited unofficially all of those people who were approved tonight for those new administrative roles to attend the next meeting on April 21st to be formally introduced and to be able to meet you as well.
Okay, sounds good. All right, what have we done this evening to improve education for the students in Marshalltown?
Chromebooks.
Lots of Chromebooks. Mm-hmm. I really enjoy hearing all the recognitions we're going to nationally, statewide, seeing all that from our students. It's amazing to be able to show that off. So, very proud.
Mm-hmm. You have great leaders leading our students.
I also think our book study, just being able to speak to the author, and very inspirational. So.
Yeah. It's exciting to hear some of the students that have been engaged in that work at the Bobcat Cafe, talk about their experiences and how they think, they're obviously enjoying it, but they're thinking about how that's going to help them with future career path and.
Okay, anything else?
Reminders. You skip reminders.
I skipped reminders. Oh, I did skip reminders.
Well, so
Randy?
back on that, I just want to say, like, when we did the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of the meeting, you could hear all the kids in the room, probably more the fifth graders, because it seemed like younger voices, but just belting out the Pledge of Allegiance, and that was, for me, that was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to hear that in a room full of kids sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. Randy reminds me that I skipped the reminders.
Only because we have a special meeting tomorrow night.
Okay. You've got
It's self-absorbed, yeah.
So Karina's got initial review policies for the 21st meeting, although the policies listed there seem to be the ones that Leah reviewed for tonight.
Yeah, I think we got,
So we may have gotten those switched.
I think they just
So Karina
got
may need
swapped.
to review the ones that were on the agenda for tonight. Okay.
yeah. And the attached policies on the agenda are the ones that were reviewed.
Are those ones? Or are they the ones you did?
No, they're the ones
200,
listed
2,
here.
3, 4.
Yes.
Yep, okay. Okay.
We have Mackenzie Snow coming on Wednesday to Miller, which we can we're not coming. Letting you know that we have a special visitor coming. She's actually going to watch prisons in action, and they're curious. They're thinking about maybe starting some sort of statewide partnership. So we've been told not to invite others, but I just wanted to let you know it's kind of a neat thing. We have a 7th grade teacher who's opened her classroom, and she's through quite a bit of like additional training and preparation for the visit. She's great. Sure, we'll share more about it, but very exciting to have her on site. And then the CEO of Prisons is also attending.
Oh, very cool. Randy, it's not on here.
I know
but
it's not on here, but
There's a special board meeting tomorrow
It's
night
kind of an
at
important
4
one,
o'clock.
Yep. So I guess, I know Zach said he possibly couldn't make it. Is everyone else planning on being here? I
I'll
guess.
be there.
Okay.
I'll be here too.
As long as I have a quorum on it, that's all I'm really worried about, so.
And I know that we're looking at possibly trying to shift that Rogers school visit to another time or day because Unity Point has agreed to do the JA job shadow that day from 9 to 1, and which Shauna and or I need to be able to attend some of that. So we'll probably look at seeing if we can shift that to another time that week.
But we do have the
We do have
MHS
the high school
one on
one should
Friday.
be, yep.
Yeah.
Friday.
So the Rogers visit is the 23rd, and for Theron and I, it actually works to push it to the 24th, the same time, 9:30. I wanted to see how that looked on your end.
To what time?
So do the 24th at 9:30 instead of the 23rd. It's okay if you can't
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
confirm now.
Are we talking?
MHS School District is this Friday.
But the high school is this Friday, correct? Yep.
All right.
24th actually works better for me.
24th, same o'clock, same time,
Works better.
Yeah,
Same
for
time.
me.
Yeah,
But-
9:30.
9:30.
I can move it right now.
Yep, that works.
Please, yes, sounds great.
Anything else? Then, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Faltus, Wise. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. We're adjourned. Everybody can leave, except you all can't leave.
Everybody.